Good afternoon and welcome to the December update for the winter seasonal outlook. My name is meteorologist Brian Conlon. Let's get started. So our agenda, we'll talk about the key points for the next month, an outlook through the middle of January, and for most of you that'll be enough. But if you want to stick around and see a recap of the past month and what is an AR or atmospheric river, you are more than welcome. Our key points, there's a moderate risk for impacts to holiday travel, mainly from heavy mountain snow. For most, it's going to be warmer or wetter than normal. There's no signal of a big change through week 3, which that's the first week of January. But by week 4, the middle of January, models introduce change. La Nina has yet to emerge, but it remains a 59% chance it will emerge by January. And if it does develop, there's a 61% chance it will revert back to end zone neutral conditions by March, April, May. All right, so what is that moderate risk? It's for heavy mountain snow. In this particular instance, it's for the week of Christmas, the Christmas week, Christmas to New Year's, but I do think we'll have periods of heavy mountain snow leading up to it because of pieces of AR. Why just that pass level? This was yesterday. Snow levels were down in the valley. A piece of an AR came through last night, raising up snow levels, and they're pretty much going to remain at pass level through Christmas Eve. This is the main holiday travel period, so that's where we're expecting to see the snow impacts. All right, atmospheric river activity. The reason I say activity is it's going to be pieces of ARs. I don't think we're going to take a direct hit. Our forecast before Christmas, multiple pieces, and then again between Christmas and New Year's. The models aren't as keen on that, but there may be 1 or 2 pieces during that week. Periods of heavy mountain snow causing moderate risk to winter driving at pass level and higher, but there is the potential for some freezing rain or mixed precipitation in valleys at the onset of each one of these AR pieces. That will be completely dependent on these transient high pressures developing some valley cold pools. That's why we have this arrow linking them. We're really going to need those cold pools to develop to have that freezing rain or mixed bag of precipitation to happen. Also, those high pressure could cause some valley fog or freezing fog and maybe some low stratus impacts to air travel and surface travel. But there's little confidence that the longevity of high pressure is going to cause an impact to air quality. All right, so currently we have a strong Aleutian low and high pressure over the Northern Rockies. This is a good pattern for Pacific weather systems to tap into subtropical, tropical moisture or atmospheric rivers. It's difficult under this pattern to have Arctic air masses move into the Northern Rockies, and we do not see in the next couple weeks any type of Arctic air mass movement. All right, by the Christmas week, the Aleutian low is still entrenched. High pressure looks a little bit weaker. It's not as strong. So that's where we would expect to see more moisture getting into the Northern Rockies during this time period. Aleutian low is still here, but you can see the high pressure is starting to revert off the coast. And this is where we're starting to think we're going to start to see some change. All right, this is the potential for some Pacific moisture to interact with colder air. Although we do not see any Arctic outbreaks during the first week of January, we are looking at the polar vortex to be interrupted by a stratospheric warming event. Now, usually it takes about 7 to 10 days after that stratospheric warming before any Arctic air or the polar vortex weakens sufficiently. So we're going to have to wait and see for this week. All right, this week we're starting to see high pressure into the North Pacific, northwest flow over the Northern Rockies, very favorable for colder air and snow. The Hudson Bay low is starting to amplify, and the Aleutian low is almost gone. All right, the pattern change, mid to late January, question mark. It's shown it a couple times during this winter. We'll see if it's true. But the Hudson Bay low is starting to strengthen. High pressure is amplifying into Alaska. And if my colleague Dave Noble was here, he'd be getting excited about Arctic outbreaks. This is the pattern to see Arctic outbreaks. The models are forecasting stratospheric warming event about 7 to 10 days prior to this week. And this is when, if the Hudson Bay low can regress to the west. It pulls down that cold Arctic air into the Northern Rockies, and this is when we can have cold air outbreaks and snow. So we will have to wait and see on that. The 8 to 14 day outlook, warmer than, above normal precipitation, warmer than normal, and even in the 3 to 4 day outlook, mainly above normal precipitation and above normal temperatures. All right, for most, that'll be all that you really wanted to see. If you want to stick around, I'll give you a recap of the last month, and we'll talk about what an atmospheric river is. So we've seen a slight decrease in snowpack by percentage. There may not have been any melting of snow, but we should gradually increase our snowpack through the mountains, and I'll explain why it didn't happen. But it's only been about a 10 to 15% decrease in where we should be with snowpack at this time of year. So it was month over month from mid-November to mid-December, 10 to 15% decrease. A little bit less than 100% in southwest Montana, a little bit more than 100% in northwest Montana. And that was just because of the direction the ARs took. In north central Idaho, it's almost all right around 100%. So what happened? There were a couple of atmospheric rivers early in the mid-November area, and then strong high pressure developed. It created these strong cold pools in the valleys. There were a couple periods of freezing precipitation in northwest Montana, but for most we didn't see too much precipitation. What we did see was lots of valley fog. In fact, there were a few days where valley fog lasted all day, which was causing impacts to travel for both aviation and for vehicles on the roads due to visibility, degradation, and some slick spots. If you got up into those mountains, I didn't, unfortunately. I bet you saw a few bluebird days. Now what we've seen in the past few days, strengthening of the Aleutian low, it's added moisture into our forecast. We've seen a couple periods of light precipitation, which has actually caused some snow impacts in the valleys over the past couple days, and some mixed precipitation, but that's mainly been in northwest Montana. All right, so what is an atmospheric river? By definition, by NOAA's definition, atmospheric rivers are relatively long and narrow regions within the atmosphere. All right, so this is water vapor. This is showing you how much water vapor there is in the atmosphere. It's stretching from the subtropical Pacific almost to the coastline. This was yesterday. This was actually a forecast. This came on shore last night and caused the snow levels to rise up because typically atmospheric rivers are warmer, moist air. You can visualize them in your head. They're like rivers in the sky. They're transporting most of the water vapor outside of the tropics. So once you get outside the tropics, which is basically 30 or negative 30 south, all the water vapor up here is mainly transported by these atmospheric rivers. While atmospheric rivers can vary greatly in size and strength, the average atmospheric river carries an amount of water vapor roughly equivalent to the average flow of water at the mouth of the Mississippi. That's a lot of water, folks. But an exceptionally strong atmospheric river can transport up to 15 times that amount. All right? So how does it look like when it gets to our region, Northern Rockies? This may say California, but if you can visualize in your head the mountains along the Idaho-Montana border or Clearwater Mountains in north central Idaho, you have this warm, moist feed of air mass that comes up and over the mountains. So orographically lifts it, it cools it, condenses it. We have lots of rain and snow on the windward side of these mountains. But as the air mass crests the mountains and dives into valleys, it compressionally heats it, warms it up. Warmer air mass can hold more moisture, but we're not adding moisture on the leeward side of the mountains. So it dries that air mass out. And basically what ends up happening for western Montana is we'll see a warming or moderating of temperatures. If we have strong cold pools, we'll just see those cold pools moderate or eventually erode completely. There's a potential for mixed precipitation initially because the ground could be really cold or the air mass could be cold. So this air mass isn't producing too much snow on this side, and the rain will fall and freeze on contact. But overall, we usually get downsloped. And what's ended up happening is the air mass has dried out so much, but the mountains are continually getting that fetch of moisture. They'll get, we'll receive in the valleys about a third to a fifth of the amount of precipitation that the mountains are getting. All right, that's Western Montana. I apologize for my cold, but the valleys in north central Idaho is a big difference. They'll benefit from that orographic uplift in the mountains of the Clearwater Mountains, and they can see lots of moisture. Now, usually these are warmer air masses, so most of that moisture is going to come in the form of rain, but they can see a lot of snow. Once these ARs turn to the northwest, this is really good for us. And that's why I'm keying in on that second week of January, because we should get into more northwest flow. And what you have is that moisture no longer is diving into valleys, because our valleys are more suitable for northwest flow, and we can see more snow or rain. But if we can get some cold air underneath them, that's when we can see the big snow events. So that's an atmospheric river. Well, I hope you enjoyed the briefing. We'll give you our next update in the middle of January, around 2025. Okay? If you have any questions, just give us a call at the office, or you can email us at mso.media@noaa.gov. And I hope everyone has a happy holidays. Thank you.